Family, something is shifting. Have you felt it? The energy around us has been heavier than usual, almost like the air itself is holding secrets it's waiting to reveal. And now, as we approach Friday, September 26th, the day many are calling the day the veil lifts, we need to talk about what this means for you, your spirit, and your destiny. This isn't just another date on the calendar, it's a spiritual checkpoint. A moment where hidden truths break through, masks fall off, and energies around you, good and bad, try to stake their claim on your light. Some of you have already been sensing it in your dreams, in your relationships, even in those sudden waves of exhaustion or random conflicts popping up out of nowhere. That's why today, we're going deep into why protecting your energy this Friday is not optional, it's necessary. Because when the veil lifts, not everyone's intentions will be pure, and not every force wants to see you rise. So before we get into it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming, and drop a comment saying September 26th, if you've already been feeling this shift in your spirit. Now let's talk about why this Friday could be one of the most important days of your spiritual journey. Number 1. There's something about certain dates that seems to echo louder than others, as if time itself carries a secret language only a few can understand. September 26th is one of those dates. For most people, it's just another day on the calendar, another square on a grid of ordinary routines. But for centuries, whispers from ancient traditions and modern spiritual circles alike have pointed to this very day as a kind of marker, a hinge in time where something unseen becomes more visible. Some call it a turning point, others a doorway, but no matter how you name it, the energy surrounding September 26th feels different, and it's impossible to ignore once you've sensed it. Think of time as a river. Most days it flows smoothly, predictably, and we go along with it, dipping our toes in, maybe even letting ourselves float. But then there are days when the current changes. The water grows deeper, swifter, more charged. If you've ever stood at the edge of a river during a storm and felt the raw energy moving beneath the surface, you know what I'm talking about. September 26th is like that, a day when the spiritual current running beneath our reality speeds up, pulling at the edges of our awareness, daring us to wake up to something bigger than the routines we cling to. All across the world, people who study the old ways, shamans, mystics, elders, keepers of forgotten wisdom, speak of certain days when the invisible barrier between worlds thins. They describe it as a veil, a soft but powerful boundary that normally keeps the spiritual and physical realms separate. On most days, that veil is thick enough that we move through life without sensing much beyond our 5 senses. We go to work, pay our bills, scroll through our phones, and rarely stop to think about what's happening in the unseen spaces around us. But every so often, that veil grows thin. And when it does, things we normally can't perceive begin to flicker at the edge of our consciousness. Sudden insights, strange coincidences, vivid dreams, even energies or presences we can't quite explain. September 26th is one of those days when, according to many, the veil becomes gossamer, almost transparent. It's as though the curtain is drawn back and the stage lights come up, revealing not just the play we've been acting in, but the hidden machinery behind it. This can be exhilarating. People report breakthroughs, moments of clarity about their life's purpose, or a sudden deepening of intuition. You might find yourself recognizing patterns you hadn't seen before, sensing the true motives of people around you, or feeling a strong pull to change direction in your life. It's as if the universe itself leans in closer, whispering truths you've been too distracted to hear. But along with opportunity comes challenge, because when the veil lifts, it doesn't only allow in the light, it also makes it easier for heavier, draining energies to creep into our space. This is something ancient cultures understood well. They didn't just celebrate days of spiritual significance, they prepared for them. They purified their spaces, grounded their minds, and protected their spirits. They knew that in moments of heightened sensitivity, discernment becomes everything. Without it, you can mistake chaos for clarity, deception for guidance, or manipulation for truth. You might have felt this before without realizing it. Maybe on a day when everything seemed off, you woke up tired even though you slept well, little conflicts erupted out of nowhere, your mood dipped for no clear reason, or your thoughts felt scattered and anxious. These experiences can be signs of spiritual turbulence, especially on days when the veil between worlds is thin. The energy is real, and whether or not we're consciously aware of it, it affects us. We feel it in our bodies, our emotions, our interactions. That's why protection isn't just a nice idea on days like September 26th. It's essential. Think of it like the weather. If you knew a storm was coming, you wouldn't walk outside without a coat or an umbrella. You'd prepare. The same is true of spiritual storms. Protecting your energy on a day like this isn't about fear, it's about stewardship. It's about recognizing your own value, your own light, and taking steps to keep it safe so you can move through the day with clarity instead of confusion. Protection can take many forms: prayer, meditation, grounding exercises, spending time in nature, cleansing your space, setting firm boundaries with people who drain you. What matters isn't the ritual itself so much as the intention behind it. When you consciously claim your energy and anchor yourself, you're far less likely to be swept away by whatever currents are moving through the collective. You become a lighthouse instead of a ship tossed on the waves, shining your own steady beam into the fog. And there's another layer to all of this. September 26th is not just about defending yourself from what's heavy or deceptive. It's also about opening yourself to what's true, beautiful, and life-giving. Because when the veil thins, it's not only the shadows that draw near. The light comes closer too. Insights, blessings, guidance, divine nudges, all of these are easier to receive when you're present and attuned. This is a day to listen deeply, to pay attention to the whispers in your soul, to notice the signs and synchronicities around you. If you've been asking for clarity, if you've been searching for direction, if you've been wondering whether your prayers are being heard, days like September 26th can bring confirmation in ways you might not expect. For many people, the idea of unseen forces sounds mystical or far-fetched. But think about it, we already accept so many invisible things in our everyday lives. We can't see Wi-Fi, but it connects our devices. We can't see radio waves, but they carry music and voices through the air. We can't see gravity, but we know it's holding us to the earth. The spiritual realm is no different. Just because something is invisible doesn't mean it's not real. And on certain days, when that invisible realm draws nearer, it can be felt as tangibly as a breeze on your skin. This is why September 26th matters. It's not about superstition or fear. It's about awareness. It's about understanding that we live in more than one reality at once, the seen and the unseen, the material and the spiritual. And when those realities overlap more strongly, we have a chance to rise above autopilot living and step into conscious co-creation with the universe. We have a chance to align ourselves with truth, to release what no longer serves us, and to embrace the next chapter of our journey with courage and clarity. So as this date approaches or passes, consider it an invitation to pause, to breathe, to notice what's stirring beneath the surface of your life, an invitation to tend to your energy like the precious resource it is, an invitation to trust your intuition and to honor the signals your soul has been sending you. This isn't just another square on the calendar, it's a threshold, and thresholds are powerful places. They ask us to choose: will we step forward with awareness or drift back into old patterns? Will we protect our light or allow it to be dimmed? Will we open ourselves to the deeper currents moving through our lives, or will we let them pass us by unnoticed? These are not abstract questions, they're deeply personal. And September 26th, in all its mysterious significance, is a reminder that the spiritual dimension of our lives is not some distant, untouchable realm. It's right here, woven into our everyday experiences, waiting for us to notice. The veil is thin, the whispers are louder, and whether you realize it or not, you're being called not to fear but to awareness, not to retreat but to stand firm. Not to close your heart, but to guard it wisely while still keeping it open to the light. This is why so many across time have treated days like this with reverence, because when the unseen world draws near, everything becomes more vivid. Your choices carry more weight, your intentions shape your reality more quickly, and the guidance you seek is closer than ever, waiting for you to quiet the noise and listen. Number 2. Have you noticed lately that something feels different? Maybe you can't quite put your finger on it, but your nights have been filled with more vivid dreams, your days punctuated by odd coincidences or déjà vu that makes you stop and stare. Perhaps you felt a strange heaviness settle over you without warning, an unexplained sadness, or a jittery kind of anticipation like something big is just around the corner. If any of that sounds familiar, you're not alone. These are some of the earliest signs people experience when the veil between worlds begins to thin. It's as if your inner compass is picking up on a change in the atmosphere before your conscious mind has caught up. For some, the signs appear in sleep. Dreams become richer, more symbolic, more charged with meaning. You might wake up in the middle of the night with a lingering image or phrase echoing in your mind, something you can't quite explain but that feels significant. Others notice it in their waking life. Repeated numbers on clocks or license plates, running into the same theme over and over. People saying things that feel like coded messages or chance encounters that shift your perspective in a heartbeat. These synchronicities aren't random. They're like breadcrumbs from the unseen, getting you to pay attention. And then there's the emotional turbulence. Have you had days recently where your mood swung for no apparent reason, or where you felt unusually sensitive to your surroundings? Maybe crowded places suddenly felt overwhelming, or you sensed a kind of static in the air, like walking into a room where someone had just argued. You might even have felt a strange sensation of being watched, not in a fearful way necessarily, but in a way that makes you hyper-aware of your own energy. These are all classic signs that the subtle layers of reality are pressing closer, that you're tuning into frequencies you normally don't notice. It can be unsettling at first, but it's also a sign of awakening. Like a radio catching more stations as you adjust the dial, your awareness is expanding. The key is not to panic, but to ground yourself. Recognize the signs for what they are, your spirit alerting you to an energetic shift, inviting you to stand more firmly in your own light. And then there's the timing. The date we've been talking about, September 26th, happens to fall on a Friday this year. And Fridays in spiritual and astrological traditions have always been tied to Venus, the planet of love, beauty, attraction, and magnetism. Venus energy is powerful because it governs not just romantic love, but also the subtle currents of connection and desire that draw things and people to us. On Fridays, that magnetism peaks. Intentions, prayers, and manifestations set on this day often seem to move faster, like seeds sprouting overnight. But here's the thing about magnetism. It attracts everything: light and shadow, blessings and tests. When the energy is high, what you're focused on becomes amplified, and so do the forces that might want to distract or derail you. That's why spiritual warfare often intensifies on these high-energy Fridays. It's not about superstition, it's about cycles. Just as the tides rise and fall with the moon, spiritual tides also rise and fall with planetary alignments and sacred rhythms. On a day like this, the stakes are higher because the flow is stronger. And when the veil lifts, there's always a duality at play. On one side, you have the forces of light, clarity, visions, divine downloads, heightened intuition. This is when breakthroughs happen, when you receive guidance, when the answers you've been seeking suddenly line up in your mind like puzzle pieces snapping into place. But on the other side, there are also forces of shadow, tricksters, energies that thrive on confusion, manipulation, or drain. They can slip through the same open doors if you're not discerning. This is the reality of spiritual life. Every open door is accessible to both angels and deceivers. That's why awareness and protection matter so much. When you're centered, you can tell the difference between a nudge from your higher self and a distraction meant to pull you off track. This dual nature of the veil lifting also explains why some people feel hit harder than others. Those with heightened awareness, deep empathy, or a strong sense of calling, the ones often referred to as chosen or set apart, tend to be more sensitive to these shifts. If you're someone who's been feeling like life has thrown you a string of betrayals, sudden conflicts, or random distractions lately, it might not be random at all. It may be a form of energy hijacking, subtle attempts to drain your focus, dull your light, or push you into doubt right when you're on the brink of a breakthrough. The closer you get to stepping into your true purpose, the more resistance you may feel. That's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's often a sign you're doing something very right. This is why so many people in spiritual traditions speak of the battle for awareness. It's not always dramatic or visible. Sometimes it looks like procrastination. Sometimes it feels like exhaustion. Sometimes it shows up as people around you suddenly acting out, projecting, or trying to pull you into old patterns. But the underlying tactic is the same. to keep you from fully inhabiting your power on a day when the energy could propel you forward. Knowing this changes the game. When you recognize the signs, you stop taking everything so personally. You stop blaming yourself for feeling off. Instead, you realize you're in a heightened energetic field and that your job is to anchor, to protect, and to stay clear. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be intentional. Because when you hold your ground on a day like September 26th, you not only shield yourself from draining forces, you also position yourself to receive some of the most profound insights and blessings of your life. Think of it like a storm and a harvest happening at the same time. The same winds that could knock down a weak structure can also carry seeds to fertile ground. The same rain that could flood an unprepared field can nourish crops for those who planted wisely. Your awareness is the difference between being swept away and being nourished. Your preparation is the difference between chaos and clarity. So if you've been feeling the shift, the dreams, the synchronicities, the heaviness, the heightened sensitivity, take heart. You're not imagining it. You're not too sensitive. You're tuning into something real. And on this Friday, under Venus's magnetic influence, the energy around you will be magnified. Guard it, yes. Protect it, yes. But also open yourself to the possibility that this is a moment of extraordinary opportunity. Because even in the midst of intensified spiritual warfare, there is a window of grace, a chance to receive, to realign, to accelerate your journey. For those who have felt chosen, who have felt singled out or set apart, this is especially your time to stand firm. You're not weak for feeling the pressure, you're strong because you've been entrusted with greater awareness. And awareness always comes with responsibility, not just to protect yourself, but to embody the light you've been given. To be the lighthouse, even when the waters are rough. To remember that every attack is also a sign that you carry something valuable enough to be contested. And as you hold your ground, remember that you're not alone. Countless others are feeling these shifts too. Across the world, people are waking up to the same currents, sensing the same veil thinning, navigating the same intensities. This collective awakening means that even as the challenges increase, so does the support, the guidance, the power of aligned intention. When you see it this way, the heaviness becomes less frightening. The synchronicities become less confusing. Even the betrayals and conflicts start to look different. They're not just obstacles, they're signals. They're opportunities to choose again, to reaffirm your focus, to step more fully into your calling. And that's what this day, this shift, is ultimately about, not just surviving it, but stepping into it, awake and aware, ready to move forward with clarity and courage. Number 3. Have you ever noticed how certain days seem to hum with a frequency you can't quite name? Like the air is thicker, time moves differently, and you feel yourself standing at the edge of something invisible yet powerful. September 26th is one of those days. On paper, it's just another date on the calendar. But for centuries, in both ancient traditions and modern spiritual circles, this particular day has been marked as a kind of spiritual hinge. A day when the hidden becomes more visible, when the unseen world presses just a little closer to ours. You may not see it with your eyes, but you feel it in your bones, in your dreams, in the quiet corners of your thoughts. Imagine life as a stage play. Most of the time, the curtain between you and the backstage is closed. You play your role, follow your script, and rarely think about what's going on behind the scenes. But on certain days like September 26th, the curtain draws back, and suddenly you can see not only the play but the stagehands, the props, the machinery. It's exhilarating and unnerving all at once. Mystics call this curtain the veil, the barrier between the physical and spiritual realms. On most days it's thick enough to keep our focus on the material world. But on days when it thins, glimpses of the unseen can slip through, insights, synchronicities, even presences or energies you can't explain. If you've been feeling a shift lately, you're not imagining it. People often begin sensing the approach of these thin-veiled days before they arrive. Dreams become more vivid, symbolic, or emotionally charged. Deja vu pops up in the most random places, like reality glitching for a second just to get your attention. Synchronicities, numbers, names, themes, or repeated phrases show up like breadcrumbs on your path. You may even feel random emotional turbulence, heaviness one moment, electric anticipation the next, without any obvious reason. Crowded spaces might feel too intense, familiar rooms might feel strange, Some even describe the sensation of being watched or observed, not in a paranoid way, but as if their energy is under a microscope. These aren't coincidences, they're signals. Your inner compass is picking up the shift before your conscious mind does. This year, September 26th lands on a Friday, and that timing is significant. Fridays are ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, attraction, and magnetism. In spiritual traditions, Venus energy is the pulse of connection, the subtle current that draws things toward you, not just romance, but opportunities, insights, people, even challenges. On Fridays, this magnetism peaks. What you focus on becomes amplified. Manifestations sprout quickly, intentions carry more weight, prayers travel faster, but magnetism is neutral. It doesn't discriminate between light and shadow. High-energy days like this are double-edged. They amplify blessings, but also heighten spiritual warfare. It's like opening a window to let in the sunlight, but also realizing the breeze might scatter your papers or let in a few insects. Awareness is everything. This duality, light and shadow sharing the same doorway, is part of what makes September 26th so intense. On one side, you have the forces of light, breakthroughs, visions, clarity, divine downloads. This is when puzzle pieces snap into place, when a long-sought answer arrives like a flash, when your intuition feels almost telepathic. On the other side, you have the forces of shadow, confusion, manipulation, draining energies, distractions designed to keep you from stepping into your power. The same open door can let in angels or tricksters. Discernment becomes your compass. If you've been feeling singled out lately, betrayed by someone you trusted, derailed by unexpected conflicts, swamped by distractions just as you were making progress, this may not be random. Those with heightened awareness, deep empathy, or a strong sense of calling, the so-called chosen ones, often feel the heat most when the veil thins. It's like the closer you get to your breakthrough, the more resistance you meet. That's not proof you're weak. It's proof you're carrying something valuable enough to be contested. Energy hijacking can show up as emotional roller coasters, conflict out of nowhere, or people trying to pull you into old patterns just when you're ready to leave them behind. Recognizing this pattern helps you stop taking it personally. Instead of blaming yourself, you start to see the larger dynamics at play. The good news is that you're not powerless. In fact, days like September 26th are not just about surviving the energy, they're about mastering it. Think of it like the weather. If you know a storm is coming, you don't curse the rain, you grab your coat and plan accordingly. Protecting your energy is no different. It's not about fear. It's about stewardship, recognizing your own light as precious and taking steps to keep it safe so you can move through the day with clarity instead of confusion. So what does protection look like on a day like this? It's both practical and mystical. Grounding rituals are a powerful start. Something as simple as walking barefoot on the earth, touching a tree, or sitting quietly by a body of water can discharge excess energy and anchor you back into your body. Salt baths have been used for centuries to cleanse not just the physical, but also the energetic field. The minerals in the salt help draw out stagnant or heavy vibrations. Even a quick shower done with intention, imagining the water washing away everything that isn't yours, can reset your energy. Spiritual shields are just as vital. Prayer, meditation, affirmations, or calling on your ancestors, angels, or higher power, these are not just nice ideas, they're ways of claiming your space in the unseen. When you center yourself in light and declare your boundaries, you're less likely to be thrown off by whatever swirls around you. Think of it like locking your doors at night. You're not being paranoid, you're being wise. And then there's the practical side, avoiding triggers that weaken your field. On days like September 26th, gossip, doom scrolling, or spending time with people who drain you can act like open wounds, making it easier for heavy energy to cling to you. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's strategic. The stronger your field, the more easily you can receive the good that's available. When you protect your energy, this Friday doesn't have to feel like a storm, it can feel like a portal. High-energy days are some of the best times for setting intentions, releasing toxic patterns, and aligning more deeply with your purpose. It's like the universe's Wi-Fi is stronger, and your prayers, your visions, your declarations travel faster. If there's a habit you're ready to break, a relationship you're ready to release, or a dream you're ready to commit to, this is the moment. By stepping into your authority instead of fear, you transform the chaos into a catalyst. And there's one more layer to all of this. a hidden history woven through September 26th itself. Look back through the annals of world events, and you'll find strange patterns around this date: uprisings, breakthroughs, pivotal shifts, and spiritual phenomena that echo across time. It's as if certain days act as energetic flashpoints, where cycles of awakening and disruption repeat. Some believe this is part of a larger, unseen calendar of power, dates when humanity collectively stands at a threshold. Whether you interpret that literally or symbolically, the pattern is hard to ignore. It suggests that September 26th isn't random. It's rhythmic, part of a larger unfolding story. So as this date approaches, consider it an invitation to pause and ground, an invitation to protect your light while staying open to the downloads, the clarity, the breakthroughs waiting for you, an invitation to step out of fear and into your authority, to remember that every high-energy day is not just a test, but an opportunity. This isn't just another square on the calendar. It's a threshold, and thresholds are powerful places. They ask you to choose. Will you step forward with awareness or drift back into old patterns? Will you protect your light or allow it to be dimmed? Will you open yourself to the deeper currents moving through your life or let them pass you by unnoticed? You're not powerless in this. In fact, you're more powerful than you realize. The veil may be thin, but your spirit is strong. And as you walk into this day with clarity and intention, you're not just surviving the shift, you're mastering it, shaping it, turning it into a launchpad for your next chapter. That's the hidden gift of September 26th. Not fear, not confusion, but the chance to rise. Number 4. When a shift like this happens, it isn't just personal. It's collective. Millions of people feeling tension, unease, or spiritual turbulence at once creates a kind of field around the planet, like a storm of invisible electricity. If you've ever walked into a room right after an argument and felt the heaviness in the air, you've experienced this on a small scale. Collective energy works the same way, only bigger. When enough people are anxious, angry, or afraid, that energy radiates outward, amplifying the currents around us. And if we're not grounded, that collective noise can seep into our own lives, pulling us off center, making our emotions feel like they belong to someone else. That's why protection on a day like September 26th isn't just about you. It's about resisting the pull of the collective distraction. It's about choosing to anchor yourself so you're not swept away by waves of fear or chaos that aren't even yours to begin with. Because make no mistake, collective energy is contagious. Thoughts, moods, and even conflicts can jump like sparks between people when the atmosphere is charged. But when you're grounded, when you've claimed your space and quieted your mind, you become like a tree in the storm. The wind may whip your branches, but your roots hold. And as this veil thins, as the energy heightens, another thing begins to happen. The illusion starts to break. Truths hidden in plain sight begin to surface. Masks slip. People you thought you knew may reveal hidden motives. Secrets inside workplaces, relationships, or even institutions might come into the light. It can be liberating and shocking at the same time. Things you've felt in your gut for months might suddenly be confirmed. Patterns you've ignored might become impossible to unsee. It's like a light flicking on in a dark room. Everything that was hidden is now visible, and you have to decide what to do with what you see. This is part of the gift and the challenge of days like September 26th. The veil doesn't just lift to give you angelic downloads and gentle guidance. It lifts to reveal truth, raw, unfiltered, sometimes uncomfortable truth. And truth can feel like a shockwave, especially if you've built your life around what you thought was real. But here's the thing, truth is always a liberation. Even when it's hard, it's freeing. Because only by seeing clearly can you move forward with integrity. Only by knowing what's real can you make real choices. During these moments, it's tempting to react. The loudest voices around you, online, on the news, even in your social circle, may be full of drama, speculation, and fear, but the loudest voices are often the biggest distractions. Chaos thrives on noise. Manipulation feeds on reaction. That's why silence and stillness become your greatest shield. When you're quiet, when you withdraw from the noise and root yourself in prayer, meditation, or just deep, steady breathing, you step out of the swirl of collective energy and into your own field. You create a natural barrier to manipulation. Stillness doesn't mean passivity. It means power. It means remembering that your strength is not in matching the frenzy, but in holding steady while others spiral. Like the calm scent of a storm, stillness allows you to see clearly, hear clearly, and decide clearly. It's how you avoid being swept into fear or deception. It's how you stay open to the genuine guidance coming through the noise. So as September 26th approaches and the currents rise, remember this: you're not powerless. The energy around you may be loud, but your spirit is stronger. Collective turbulence can't override a rooted, protected individual. Chaos can't drown out a heart that's grounded in truth. And noise can't manipulate a mind that's chosen silence over reaction. This is the real invitation of days like this, not to fear the shift, but to meet it with awareness, to anchor yourself while the world trembles, to hold your ground as illusions crumble and truth reveals itself, to be still enough to hear the whisper of your own soul above the roar of the crowd. In that stillness, you'll find your direction. In that stillness, you'll find your power. And in that stillness, you'll realize that what felt like chaos was actually a call to rise, to see, and to step into your next chapter awake. Family, what we've talked about today isn't just theory, it's real, and it's happening now. September 26th is more than a date. It's a spiritual wake-up call. How you protect your energy this Friday could make all the difference in what you attract and what you release. If you feel the weight of this shift, or if you've already sensed the veil lifting around you, don't stay silent. Drop a comment below sharing your experience or your strategy for guarding your energy. Your story could help someone else navigate these waves too. And remember, this channel is all about getting you through these spiritual shifts, so hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're going to keep walking through these moments together, protecting our light and rising stronger than ever. Stay aware, stay powerful, and keep your energy sacred. I'll see you in the next video.